mypmnation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here at The Planet. And working the board, as always, with his fancy new table that he's all set up on. Mr. Tim Martin from Central NH Events. CentralNHEvents.com, rather. Sorry, the .com is important. Yeah. Did you know eventually there won't be any .com or .net or anything?
What will it be?
I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I think you just won't need that. It's all going to change from what I hear. Weird, huh?
Weird.
You didn't hear about this yet.
No.
You're hearing it here first on Local Outbreak.
Okay.
But
if you say so.
Go to CentralNHEvents.com. You can hire Tim Martin to DJ your event. He does a great job. Mention Shindig, and he will give you a discount. The Shindig discount. CentralNHEvents.com. And here with the band Azure Cross. Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
Great. And what does that mean, by the way?
Well, the color azure in the Bible denotes righteousness. And
okay.
A lot of the stuff that we write is based in our Christian spirituality. So we wanted to incorporate that with the classic, reference to the cross. But since, as we always say, Blue Cross was already taken, we went with Azure Cross.
All right.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll come back and chat. And what do you want to play from the disc? You brought some music with you. We'll start the show with whatever you guys want to start with.
Okay.
I think we're going to start this one here with Through the Glass Dark.
Through the Glass Dark from Azure Cross here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt here from IPMNation.com here at The Planet with the guys from Azure Cross. And let's start with you, sir, and you can introduce yourself and tell me who you are and what you do in the band.
Sure. My name's Pete Lamprin, and I play guitar and sing.
And you, sir?
I'm Joe Cadret. I'm the drummer, vocalist, and fun coordinator.
Fun coordinator. That's an important job.
The whip cracker.
And who's the gentleman next to you who we're going to chat with later, hopefully?
That's our bass player and vocalist, Tim Vent.
Okay. You guys are all from the Concord area?
That's correct.
Or in and around Concord? All right. Tell me a little bit more about... well, let me ask you this. I mean, you guys are... What do you consider yourselves in terms of what genre of music are you? Is it Christian rock? Do you... what do you call it?
That's a common question we get asked, and the way that we like to answer that best is to say that, we're not a Christian band per se. We're a band of guys who are Christians.
Yeah.
And a lot of our material is written from that perspective. But a lot of the songs that you listen to on our, at our shows or on our CD, we write about a lot of things.
Sure.
Still write about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I just write it from a different place than I used to. So, I mean, there's this, I think, this perception that, if you play music that references your faith, people are going to, it's the Tebow effect. Everybody's going to make a big deal out of it. Well, we're musicians. We write what we write, and some songs have absolutely nothing to do with anything Christian per se. Other songs do, but it's kind of like people from France write music that's influenced by the culture in that country, and it's the same with us as far as what influences us most is our spiritual outlook.
Sure. Yeah, because it's really not a black and white thing when you talk about you've got bands that do call themselves specifically Christian rock, where they're very very focused on that message specifically, and they don't really get into much else, or they try to relate it to that. And then there are bands that are you've got a lot of the bands that you hear them. They sort of come from a Christian point of view, but they also cross over into secular radio, like Skillet, for example.
Right.
A lot of the bands that play at the Inside Out Festival, I forget if they still call it that or if they have a new name for it. Oh, Soulfest, they call it now.
Soulfest, right.
I used to work at that years ago, and every summer I did that for 4 years in a row, and that time it was still called Inside Out when they used to have it at Loon Mountain. But so you have a lot of those bands that kind of, they're coming from that point of view, but they're not limiting themselves
right
in that regard. So you guys feel more like that. You're coming from that point of view, but I assume when you go out and play shows, you're not just playing with other Christian bands necessarily.
Oh,
right?
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
We don't do the club circuit that the cover bands do. We've all kind of done that in the past. It's not really a place necessarily for our music, and we do play churches. We do some worship services. That's not all we do. We play outdoor festivals. We'll play, pretty much play anywhere anybody will have us for the most part. You know? But we just tend to not do the traditional, drunken club circuit. Really. Been there, done that, and like I say, bought the T-shirt. But in my case, I could say I've been there, done that, and threw up on the T-shirt. So kind of all done with that. But
right,
yeah. Places we play like the Spotlight Cafe, a lot of benefit concerts and stuff like that in Manchester.
Yeah.
We really try to place in any event that we can that just likes music, because that's what we do. We just rock. We just play rock and blues music, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, the first gig that we had together as a band, I'd set up because I had played a few times at the Pittsfield Balloon Festival. So the first gig that we did as a band was the year they really upped the ante with what they were doing there. They brought in a full production company with lasers and lights and the whole 9 yards. So we get up on this big, flatbed in front of thousands of people to do the first show, and it was just, it was a real great way to start the band off. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a great night, and it was really a neat experience. And so we do stuff like that, and we play little coffee houses. There's a little coffee house in Springfield, Mass. that we love to play at. It's probably 30 people or so usually.
It holds about 30 people. it's a good crowd in that place.
Yeah, just as satisfying to play there too.
Another one is Fat Daddy's in Nashua.
Fat Daddy's, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little coffee shop.
Yeah, but we've done stuff like Joe said with the Spotlight Cafe at the Capitol Center. Yeah. We've all done a lot of different things over the years, and we just found that this configuration, not only what we do together as friends and musicians, but the music that we do together, it just clicked. Yeah. I mean, it's cliche to say, but it's true. If you guys are musicians at all, or really in any endeavor, when it clicks, it clicks.
Right. Absolutely. How long have you guys been a band?
I think we're going on our third year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They put these guys here, Tim and Pete, put an ad in Craigslist looking for a drummer, and I'd been looking for a band, an originals band, for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That were all on the same page that I was, and I was really nervous about the audition. I go over there because I've never done a lot of original. I did some.
Oh, really?
And, I went over there, and we did like 2 or 3 songs, and I just laid it out there and said, hey, I think I want to join the band, and I'll let Pete finish the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Tim and I had always had a pact that we were always going to sleep on it and pray about it before we made a decision. But we're playing with Joe, and at the end of the audition, if you want to call it that, we were like, we told him that. We said, we'd usually like to take some time to sleep on it, but can you start practice next Tuesday? So I mean, it was pretty apparent that.
Well, when it's right, it's right.
Yeah, exactly. And we're slightly older than your average musician around here, so we don't have the patience and the time to mess around with all the stuff you spent time wasting energy on when you're young.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And it's great because we're much more focused. I think it's one of the things we've noticed playing with younger bands is the maturity that you gain as you get older really helps you just be more focused.
No doubt, yeah.
The professional level goes up just by virtue of doing it over and over and over and over again, year after year. And it's hard to do gigs with other bands sometimes because, there's always that slight level of competition or you don't know what to expect or whatever. But, we always try to just go in and say, we're just going to have a good time. We be supportive of the other bands and get out there and play. But we're also kind of control freaks. So we love it when we can set up a show that's just our own.
Yeah.
We did a couple things, right? 2 things at the Spotlight Cafe.
Correct.
And it was great because we had our own sound system, our own sound guy, and sold the tickets and just did the whole. It was control freaks' dream, basically.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever play shows where it's just you, where you do the whole night? Or?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. If we were to do a full-out night's worth of music, not that I'm comparing us to him by any stretch of the imagination, but we could give Springsteen a run for his money as far as length of time.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do 3 hours.
Yeah.
We've got just boatloads of material, so...
Allegedly, I don't know if it's just urban legend or what, but supposedly there was a point in the 80s where he was doing like 5-hour shows.
I know for a fact that he did at least a 3.5-hour show the night my brother saw him.
No kidding. Yeah.
The guy's a maniac. But I say that only to illustrate the fact that we've worked really hard at the craft of songwriting, and we've put together a lot of material over the past 3 years. So we've probably got at least 2.5, 3 hours worth of music.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. All originals.
Yeah. We throw in an odd cover here and there.
Yeah.
And when we play at churches, we'll do worship songs that people know.
Oh, okay.
But for our own shows, we do, pretty much only one cover.
It's just one cover.
Oh, what is it?
It's ZZ Top, Jesus Just Left Chicago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Which is great fun.
Yeah, we put our twist on it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Do you do that one at church shows, or do people probably...
Well, we've done it at church functions, not at a service.
Yeah. People probably wouldn't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We probably wouldn't get asked back if we did that. But it's just fun to see people's faces. The thing that we love to do the most is make people realize that just because we're Christians, we're not a bunch of, Mr. Rogers wannabe, boring. C.S. Lewis once said the person who makes the worst case for Christians is often Christians. And I agree with that. I mean, I was a heathen to the highest degree, and before that changed, if someone tried to get me to listen to Christian music, I would just flat out. If the word Christian was in front of the word music, I wouldn't even listen to it.
Sure.
But then as things changed, I ended up listening to Jars of Clay. Mm-hmm. They had the hit Flood. That was a great crossover.
And they were a big crossover.
And they were a huge crossover.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, that's how you reach people.
Right.
That's how you reach people. So that's where we're coming from.
Well, let's play another track from your disc. And this is, I don't think we mentioned, the disc is called Nexus. Is this your first full length that you guys have done?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Yeah. And what does the title mean of the disc, Nexus? What's the meaning?
I should probably pass the microphone over to Tim to let him answer that.
Well, you know what? We'll bring him in next segment. Yeah. He can explain it.
We'll let him explain that at the top of the next.
All right. Sounds good. Maybe. And what do you guys want to play?
I Got You.
All right. So this is I Got You from Azure Cross here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
.1, the planet's local outbreak with IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here with the guys from Azure Cross. And by the way, I'm glad all three of you are here because sometimes not everyone can make it for the interview, so we don't have the full band. And then usually what ensues is we somehow pick on whoever doesn't make it. for not being here. You know, because they'll usually have some lame excuse like they had to work or watch the kids or, you know, something ridiculous like that. You know, rescue orphans from somewhere or something, and, you know, something lame, you know, and then we make fun of them. And I say, where are their priorities?
Right.
So I commend that all three of you are here. That's good.
Nice.
And we're going to talk to the rhythm section a bit this time. So a singing drummer is unusual, but just the two of you sing? You don't all sing in the band, or?
Yeah, Pete and I both sing lead.
Oh, okay.
I sing a lot of the backups, and of course, when I'm singing lead, Pete sings backups. As singing drum, it is a little unusual, but I started out of necessity at some of my past bands, and I was terrible at it.
Really?
When you're a drummer, you sing to the rhythm, and over the years, I got a lot better, and started writing an original or two on each one of my bands. Since I've been in Azure Cross, though, I've been writing more than I've ever written. I've been really inspired by these guys to write and sing the material that I write. So,
how long did it take you to really feel comfortable both singing and drumming?
It probably took me about 4 years to the point where I'm saying, I can sing. I'm actually a singer at this point. So
now, prior to that, were you able to sing without drumming? Were you able to? I mean, was it just a matter of being able to do both at once and kind of divide your focus?
No, I never actually sang much before that. I didn't even realize I could sing until I just gave it a try one day, and I'm like, I do have a voice. So.
Yeah. So I forget who it was. There was a band we had in here who the drummer also sang some of the tunes, and I remember him saying something about, you know, he could sing or he could drum, but it took him a while to learn how to do both at the same time, because when he was drumming, it was hard. You know, to keep his wind up enough to sing correctly was difficult. You know, and it was an adjustment. So, do you write the lyrics generally? Or?
Yeah, on the songs that I sing, I do. I write the lyrics, and I actually write the music. I call it drum guitar because I don't play guitar that well.
Yeah,
but Pete always swoops in and saves me with playing some real guitar. But yeah, I do write the music and the lyrics on my material.
Yeah,
of course, Pete writes the majority of the songs that we do. And it doesn't. He gets inspired on anything. I drop my drumsticks, and there's a song in that. So
where does the name come from? Nexus, the name of the album.
The name came from when we were we had the songs already recorded, but we hadn't had a name yet for the. We didn't even have a working name for the CD.
Yeah,
and we're going through a bunch of different names, trying this and that, and it just hit me one day. The word nexus, which really means the bringing together a lot of things at once. The band, coming together, three of us, plus the music, and we self-produced this CD ourselves. Just everything came together, and so we decided, nexus is a simple word. It's easy to remember, and so that's how the name came about.
Now, what went into the decision to make a full length? Because a lot of bands now, or solo artists or whomever, only do EPs, or they just even, release singles online, on a consistent basis. Maybe they'll release a single and then a month later put another one out and just do it that way. Why did you guys decide to do a full length?
Well, we started out with an EP. We had 4 or 5 songs on it, I believe, just to get it out there so people could hear what we were doing. And we also did it because we wanted to be able to send it to potential people that were going to make decisions on whether we were going to play at their coffee house or whatever. And but we had so many songs, and they were coming so fast and furious that we needed to do something. So we decided to do the LP version of the EP.
Yeah,
and we have enough material now for 2 more of these.
Oh, no kidding!
So
yeah.
In fact, we're trying to raise some money to go into the studio, into a professional studio, and do at least 2 songs.
Okay.
So we can see what it's like and get them out there and show people this is what we sound like in a real professional type studio. So
where was this recorded?
In his basement.
In my basement.
Really? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Most of the drum tracks, and then we went to Pete's house to do the guitar tracks and vocals and stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, okay. Was that a challenge, kind of, having to do it DIY and not have not have a producer and all that?
Well, Pete has some experience in the studio, doing recording, professional studio. So, he kind of knew what was, but we're dealing with a lot of things that we could hear it in our head, but we couldn't get it on CD. It's just we didn't have the experience.
Yeah,
that it takes, that a good producer has.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you're recording and producing at the same time, where you can't separate yourself from it to kind of hear things that a producer would hear.
Sure.
So that's why our next endeavor is going to be in a studio where you have an engineer and a producer, helping us out in that aspect. That's
interesting. It's interesting that you're. That you take that point of view, that it's and maybe that comes with maturity, that understanding that sometimes it's good to have another, almost like an objective person to have input, because some artists you talk to, they don't want that. They would rather self-produce, they would rather have as much control over it as possible, and maybe they don't recognize that sometimes you get too close to it, in the sense that you can't. Especially if it's something that you've worked on for a long time, you really can't say objectively anymore at a certain point, well, this sounds right or this doesn't. Or have any of you guys been in situations in the past where you have worked with a producer? Or
Pete has, yeah. That I know. I don't know about Jay.
I have in some of my past bands when we were doing some demos. There was not a very well-known producer, but it was definitely somebody helping us out and guiding us in the recording process. Yes, maturity definitely helps when it comes to recognizing that, but we also together. I mean, when we write songs, we really work hard to take everybody's opinion and listen to what we're doing, and not just because I wrote a song that it has to be that way. We really kind of take everybody's opinion into that. So that's why working with a producer for us would be very easy.
Was it difficult to decide what to put on the disc? Because you guys, you mentioned you've got a lot of material. I mean, in terms of deciding what was going to go on there and kind of narrowing it down, was that a challenge at all?
Not with this particular CD, because there were quite a few at that point. I forget how many. I think we had probably about 20 at that point, but some of them had been recorded in other studios that people had done in the past. But with this next one coming up, we're pushing right around 35 songs.
Wow, you could do a double album if you
want. Yes. So we were talking about that last night. We were looking at we have a whiteboard with all the songs on it and trying to decide, all right, what songs are we going to record? And it was not easy to pick them.
Really? Yeah. No. Do you guys argue about that?
No, I don't think we've ever had an argument in the 3 years we've been.
We've certainly had differences of opinions, that's for sure, but no arguments. Definitely work it out.
I'm looking for the dirt. Inevitably,
you won't find it.
At some point in the interview, I'm looking for the dirt. I start digging.
Nah.
I'm looking for that VH1 behind the music moment where it all went bad, and then somehow you guys rebounded.
Well, it's only been 3 years.
Oh, that's true. You got time.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's play another track from the disc from Nexus. From you guys, what do you want to play?
Let's play Yo-Yo. That's Yo-Yo? A good track.
Okay,
it's one of our favorites.
All right, cool. So this is Yo-Yo from Azure Cross here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
Up and down all the time, swing from black to feeling fine. And I can't take this roller coaster ride. Well, there's no safe place where I can hide. My mind is stuck in blind routines. It takes me days to know just what I mean. I can dream, but the pictures blur. Settle down. I'm a yo-yo bouncing up and down again. Oh, got your finger on my string. Don't you circle path. Well, it's one step up and two steps back, and I must have me some strange disease. Makes all my friends get up and just when I swear I'm a coming round, I'm a yo-yo bouncing up and down again. Oh, oh, you got your finger on my string. All these endless conversations in my head. Oh, oh, they keep the circle spinning around, going up and down. By a thread, and I'm a yo-yo bouncing up and down again. Oh, oh, got your finger on my string. All these endless conversations in my head. Oh, oh, they keep the circle spinning round, going up and down, going up and down, going up and down, going up and down.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here with Azure Cross. Guys, tell me, and this will encourage people to go online and check it out. I assume the disc is available online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about the album cover. I dig the cover.
That photo was actually taken in the daytime, and I messed with it in Photoshop. My day job in the past had been the graphics field for 20 years. That's actually my son standing with his arms outstretched, looking out over the Skyline Parkway in Virginia.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was a family vacation photo. But he just stood up like that, and I had the shot just as a regular daylight shot, and I started messing around with it, and it just kind of took on that sort of nighttime, sort of staring out at the universe kind of feel that it has. So
that was actually taken during the day?
Yeah, it was taken at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Sweet, man. No, I dig it, though. It's a very cool cover.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun working on it.
I encourage listeners to go online and check this out. And speaking of which, where do we find you guys online? Where's the best place to go to keep up with everything you guys are doing?
Well, we're on Facebook, of course, and MySpace. We're on Reverb Nation. The album's available on cdbaby.com, and our website is azurecrossband.com.
And you should spell that for the spelling impaired.
Sure, it's AzureCrossband.com.
Okay, so Azure is AZURE.
Correct.
What do you guys have coming up? Do you guys have some shows coming up that you want to mention, or some bands hibernate for the winter?
Well, we're actually kind of hibernating for a few months to work on the studio recordings. Mm-hmm. We've got some stuff booked in Mass and Rhode Island in April. We're doing a little weekend jaunt. We might be back down at Fat Daddy's in March in Nashua.
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to kind of take a couple months off to work on the recording for the next album.
Any idea when that might be out? It's probably way too soon to really know. But
we're trying to get the funds together, but, God willing and the creek don't rise, we'd like to have something by early spring anyway.
We could have it in a month if somebody wrote us a $10,000 check.
There you go.
It's hard. You really got to spend the money to get anything significant done. I cut some songs down in Nashville for a little indie label down there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it cost about $1,000 a song to do that with session players and book a studio and book a producer and an engineer. It's expensive to do it right, but
absolutely.
The difference is you hear it.
Yeah.
You hear the difference when you have somebody running the board. The guy down there had worked on some stuff for Marshall Tucker. Thank you. So he'd done some real heavy duty stuff, and when he sat down at the mixing board, it was like I forgot I was even there to play. I was
Really,
just watching this guy work. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, that's
it's
awesome,
Really,
yeah.
It was fun. It was quite, for me, that was kind of like an education jaunt down there just to do that stuff. And it gave me a lot of ideas and things that, as Tim was saying, we were all able to take what all three of us have learned over the years from all our own experiences and apply it to recording this album. This album is definitely, a home recording.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot from what we've done individually and brought it all to bear on the CD. So what it might lack sonically here and there compared to a full-blown studio recording, I think we made up for in good arranging, heartfelt playing. The spirit of the songs are there. So
Right, which is important because, even if you had something that sounded, sonically perfect.
Right.
If the songs aren't there, then what's the point?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Sgt. Pepper's was recorded on what was, by today's standards, the equivalent of a 4-track tape recorder.
Yeah.
And look at what George Martin did with that, So,
yeah, exactly. Well, guys, thanks very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
We'll play another track in a moment to wrap up, but also want to thank Tim Martin from CentralNHEvents.com. And if you need a DJ for your shindig, go to CentralNHEvents.com. Contact Tim, mention Shindig, get the official Shindig discount. But if you don't mention Shindig, he's going to charge you regular price. But that's okay, because Tim's rates are reasonable, and he does a great job. But mention Shindig. Write it down. Write yourself a note right now as you're listening to this program. Go ahead. You write it down? Okay. I know you didn't really do it, but that's okay. But thanks, Tim. And guys, what do you want to play to wrap up the show?
I think we'll close it with a song called Running to the Middle.
Okay. So this is Running to the Middle from Azure Cross here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's always somebody else. It's the same every time. I get a little bit up and they close down the line. I get a little bit closer to the edge every day, just to find I've been running in the opposite way. It's always something to get me running. Running to the middle, but the middle is gone, and the left becomes right, and the right is wrong. Someone must have left the good book out in the hall, and that might be what's wrong. Oh yeah, that might be what's wrong. Now it's a curious thing how we choose to behave when there's nothing left to lose, and we're toppled by the way. We think one more morning must be waiting round the bend, but the bar's too full and we're staring at the end, and there's always something to get me running. Running to the middle, but the middle is gone, and the left becomes right, and the right is wrong. Someone must have left the good book out in the hall, and that might be what's wrong. Oh yeah, well, that might be what's wrong. Now it's just my opinion, and you know what they say. Everybody has got one, and it stands in the way of somebody else who thinks they are right. But it ain't them we should aim to please in our lives. It's always something that gets me running. Running to the middle, but the middle is gone, and the left becomes right, and the right is wrong. Someone must have left the good book out in the hall, and that might be what's wrong. Oh yeah, that might be what's wrong. Oh yes, and that might be what's wrong. Oh yeah, that might be what's wrong. Oh yeah, that might be what's wrong.
100.1 The Planet's local outbreak with IPMNation.com.
The Planet's local outbreak is recorded weekly at the studios of 100.1 The Planet. It's engineered by Tim Martin of CentralNHEvents.com. Matt Connerton of IPMNation.com is the host of The Planet's local outbreak. The show is produced and edited by Annie Biello of 100.1 The Planet. For artist links and details about The Planet's local outbreak, log on to The Planet's Entertain Me page, WPNHFM.com. The Planet's local outbreak is available for download anytime online, IPMNation.com/local outbreak. The Planet's local outbreak is a product of 100.1 The Planet and Northeast Communications.
IPMNation.com.